So let's start out by just taking those shoulders up to the ears. Gently roll them down and away. Let's do that again, up to those ears, squeeze, squeeze, down and away. And one more time, breath in. And exhale to soften. Letting the hands rest comfortably on your knees or in your lap. One more here. And then just allowing your eyes to close. We simply let the universe know that we have arrived, that we are present in the here and the now. And know that the universe is supporting you, life in existence is supporting you through prana, through life force energy. It's received through the breath. So as you breathe in fully all the way to the bottom of your lungs, let that continue to expand through the rest of your body. And prana, life force, is received through breath and through a shift in state of mind. And that shift in state of mind is to be completely present, to be in the here and the now. And acknowledge yourself for carving out this time to be with yourself fully. Any sounds or vibrations around you, any distractions, let them be there. Everything is as it should be. And continuing to regulate your breath. We fill ourselves up, expanding from within. We exhale out every drop, letting go of any stress and carry. With every breath in, we create more space. We create more room for existence to flow a little more freely through us. And then bringing the hands together in universal prayer, bowing our heads to each other and to the practice. Cultivating intention. This month's theme is challenges that change you. How do you want to show up? Let it be a word or a phrase of high vibration. And then we'll inhale, sweep the arms up to the ceiling, reaching high. Feel the rib cage rise up. Exhaling, hands come together to the heart center. Let's do that again. We'll sweep those arms up, reaching up to the ceiling. Hands together to the heart. Exhale. One more time. Big breath in. And breath out. And bring the hands to the knees. Start to tuck the chin. Feel the space in the back of the neck. And then we'll lift the chin on the inhale, opening the throat. Exhale to tuck the chin. Do that one more time. And eventually, as you tuck your chin, moving into neck rolls, chin to shoulder, head gently dipping back, opening the throat. Only letting the head dip back as far as it's comfortable for you. And then going the opposite direction. Eventually, we tuck the chin, holding there. As you start to round the rest of your spine, scooping in the belly, tailbone tucking under. And then on the inhale, drawing the chest and heart forward, opening up the chest, looking up. Exhale to tuck the chin and round. Seated cat-cow pose. So most of our focus is on lower extremities today. So we're just going to start out getting a lot of the movements in the spine and upper body. We'll spend the majority of time on the legs. Then eventually coming back to neutral spine. Placing the right hand beside you, left hand reaching up to the ceiling, moving into a side bend. Exhale, bending over to the right. So you can drop on down to your forearm here, you guys, or just staying lifted, spin open a bit, lower belly up towards the ceiling. And then we'll all rise back up, breath in, exhale to release. We switch sides, inhale, right arm reaching up to the ceiling and taking your bend on the exhale. And really ground down through your hips, spin the chest open, you can look up. Couple more breaths here. And the next inhale, we come back up and we gently release. Moving into a twist, right hand gently behind you, left hand on your knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to twist and rotate. Checking in with the neck, checking in with the spine. And then we come back around, we'll switch sides. Inhale, elongate your spine. Exhale to rotate and twist. What a beautiful morning. Continue to breathe into the heart of your day. And then we come back around through the center. We're going to come all the way down to the floor. And just take those legs forward, find your way down to the mat on your back body. And then once you get there, go ahead and start to bring the legs into your chest and simply rock a little side to side. You can circle the knees around and going the other direction. And then keeping the right knee into your chest, go and extend that left leg to the top of your mat. Squeeze the thighs snug. And then extending your right arm out, we move into a twist, slowly drawing that right knee across the chest. And we feel the sensation in the outer hip. We're going to do a lot of these types of shapes throughout practice this morning. And then bringing yourself back up through the center. Bending those knees, feet to the floor, adjustment, the hips and spine. And then bringing the left knee into the chest, give it that good squeeze as you straighten out your right leg to the top of your mat. Press through your right heel, feeling the length of your tailbone. A couple breaths there. And then we move into our twist. Left arm extends out, slowly drawing the knee across the chest. You can place that left foot on top of your thigh if it helps to support you here, or scooch up on that right hip, twisting a little bit more. And then we'll go ahead and come back up through the center. Feet to the mat, slight adjustments in the hips and spine again. And then you're gonna cross your right thigh over the left like you would at a dinner table, thigh over thigh. Bring the knees into your chest, and then grab a hold of your knees or your shin bones and just press down in your hands. So just be really mindful of knees here. If it's too much with the weight, just let it cross and hold. Otherwise, you can start to spread the shin bones apart ever so slightly. Weight the legs down with your hands. Relax your abdomen. Soften the shoulders. We'll take a couple more breaths there. And then you'll go ahead and start to unravel those legs. Open the legs up towards the ceiling into a V shape. Hands can be on the outside of the thighs. You can reach towards your toes. You can rock a little side to side. And then soft bend in the knees as you draw those legs together. Feet to the floor as you cross that left thigh over the right. Knees come into the chest. 3 actions here, knees into the chest. Bring those shin bones gently apart and pressing down in your hands. So essentially we're in cow face legs. Normally this is a seated variation, but this gives you the same stretch in the outer hip, same sensations, just without the weight of the body on the legs. And just see how this feels. Breathe in space. And then we'll go ahead and start to unravel those legs. Legs go back up to the ceiling, open up into a V shape. Hands would come to the inside of the thighs. A little more weight for the inner thighs, pressing through the heels. And a couple full breaths here. And then we'll bend the knees going right into happy baby. So your variation of happy baby here. Now the tailbone will naturally curl. I invite you to just start to press your low back into the floor a little bit more. If you feel that connection, start to rock a little side to side, massaging the sacrum. And then we'll go ahead and release, bring the legs back together, lowering the feet down to the floor. Feet are hip distance apart, sits bones on down. We're moving into rolling bridge. Arms come at your side body. On the inhale, we start to press into the feet, start to lift the hips. Low back, mid spine, upper spine. Now take a pause here. Just notice your positioning. Notice if your knees start to splay open or draw in. See if you can keep them anchored over the heels. Notice how the chest lifts up towards the chin. The skull, center of your skull is pressing into the mat. The squeeze of your glutes. strengthening your back body. We inhale. Exhale to gently lower upper spine, mid spine, low back, and then your hips. Do a couple more rounds. Breath in to lift up. And breath out to lower. One more time. Inhale. Exhale to lower. This time we lift up and we're going to hold. You're going to start to walk your shoulder blades in. Some of you interlacing fingertips together, pressing down. So countering our day-to-day as we start to feel that rounding in the upper spine. We want to open up that front body more. Shifting the weight into your right foot, lifting that left leg up to the ceiling as an option. A little more strengthening in that right side body, right glute, hamstring, knee. And then we lower that leg back down to the floor. We switch sides. Make sure you feel stable, lifting that right leg up towards the ceiling. Keep pressing down in that left foot. And then we lower that leg down. We walk the shoulder blades back out. Gently roll yourself all the way down to the floor. Bring the knees over your hips. Extend your arms out into your lazy T. Actually, let's go ahead and interlace the fingertips behind the head here. Elbows are wide, and then we let the legs fall to the left into a twist. So let the feet and the legs come all the way down. This just keeps the chest opening. Feel your shoulder blades drop. And then the next inhale, we bring those legs back up to the center. Exhale, letting the legs fall the opposite direction. Again, do your best to keep those elbows opening up. Keep your chest spinning open towards the ceiling. And we'll draw those legs back up to the center, lowering the feet down to the floor. Keeping your hands interlaced behind your head. Again, neutral in the spine. Take an inhale here. Exhale, start to lift your shoulder blades up off the floor. A little crunch. Keep space between your chest and chin. Lowering back down to the mat, breath in. Exhale to lift. Keep the gaze up to the ceiling. We'll do 5 more. Lower and lift. Last 4. Last 3. Last 2. We're going to stay lifted on 1. Lower and lift. Hold. Again, keeping your gaze up. Keep space between your chest and chin. We're going to pull. Lift for 8, 7, 6, 5. Stay controlled. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lowering yourself back down into the floor. Release your hands. Bring the knees into your chest. Rock a little side to side. We take the legs back up to the ceiling. Open up into your V shape again. Reach your hands up to the ceiling. Palms will turn in. So if you need support for your head, you can place the hands behind your head again. Otherwise, we take an inhale. Exhale to lift the shoulder blades up off the floor. Squeezing belly in. Again, lower and lift. 5 more. Last 4. Last 3. Keep your gaze up. Last 2. Staying lifted on 1. We hold. Pulsing here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Lower down. Draw those legs back in. You lower the feet to the floor. Take the legs long, arms reaching overhead. Take a big stretch. And then we start to take a bend in the body, legs over to the right, and then upper body and arms over to the right. You can hook your ankle, taking the left ankle above the right. You can grab a hold of that left wrist. And then bringing yourself back to the center. We switch sides, take a bend over to the left, hooking your right ankle above the left, grabbing hold of your right wrist. Now do your best to keep, again, your upper body resting into the floor, softening in the eyes. And then back through the center, bending your knees, releasing those arms. Walk your feet out mat distance. Windshield the legs to the left and to the right. And then bringing the legs back up. Go ahead and cross your right ankle above the left knee. And then we let the legs fall over to the right. So similar shape. This just adds, again, that weight on that left side. If this is too much, just unravel and let the legs fall as is. And then we bring the legs back up. Uncross your legs, switching sides. Again, feet are mat distance. Left ankle crossing above your right knee. Legs fall over to the left. Today we're targeting a few key muscles. Deepen your glute. The piriformis, that's the muscle right above your sciatic nerve. Okay, so that muscle is primary for externally rotating your thighs. So when we're opening up the pelvis. Now this is the opposite here. We're opening up that front of the pelvis, the hip flexors, the quads. So they all work together, but we want to seek balance here. We're always seeking homeostasis, sense of ease in the body. And then slowly bringing the legs back up to the center, unravel again. Walk your feet back in. We're going to rock and roll lengthwise on the spine. Do a few rolls. See if you can get that all the way up towards your neck, upper body. And then eventually we come up into a seat and finding a comfortable seat again. Soles of the feet will come together here for butterfly. We're going to start to butterfly the knees up and down. So the next sequence, don't worry about so much where you're situated on your mat. You just need to see the screen for the most part. It won't matter as much where you're located. And we just start to lubricate the thigh in the hip socket. And just close the eyes. Remembering this is also helping to increase digestion, increase your digestive flame. Soften the shoulders. Keep going. Keep it up, a few more breaths. And then taking that pause, we take an inhale, sit tall in the spine, exhale to lean forward and fold. You can use your elbows here to press into your inner thighs for a little bit more. Otherwise, pressing the feet together can help. Imagining the knees spreading apart can help. And then go ahead and slowly rise up. Draw those knees together. Go ahead and straighten out your right leg. You're going to take your left foot across your right leg. So we're not moving into twist, we're actually moving into a fold. So this is option one, where you'll just sort of hug that knee in and take a fold. Otherwise, grab a hold of that left ankle and just pull it back a little bit so the knee is on top of knee. Just check and see how that feels, and then you'll walk the hands forward. This is option two. Otherwise, foot is on the floor, more of that twisted version, and then just wrap the arms around the legs. And then go ahead and gently make your way back up. You're going to go ahead and start to lean back on your hands and then bend your knees. You're going to cross that left ankle above the right. So you're basically in figure four. For a little bit more, you'll start to pull that right heel in a little more towards your glute, or scoot your glute forward. So you're sort of tightening this posture a bit, bringing the chest in towards your shin bone. Otherwise, just open up and lean back on those hands, pressing that left thigh away from the chest. And do a little rocking side to side. And then taking pause. If you're not already there, just open up a little bit more. So scooching your foot away or scooching your hips back. And then we'll just let the legs fall over to the right. It's just going to drop, that left foot is going to drop to the floor. And then just walk the hands forward and you go right into a rotation of twist over to that left thigh. So you're just hugging your left thigh in. You could just turn the chest over towards that left side. Again, doesn't matter where you're located on your mat. That should feel pretty nice on that outer glute. And then we slowly release that. Go ahead and bring those legs back up and unravel the legs, straightening them out, and then just shake out the legs. Bring the soles of the feet to touch again. We're back into Baddha Konasana, bound angle. This time, go ahead and let yourself round a little bit. So you can scoot your feet out a little bit more so you're a little bit bigger in that diamond shape. And then just start to tuck the chin and imagine yourself just curling in towards your legs. And then we'll roll our way back up, drawing those knees together again. This time, left leg, right leg remains, left leg extends out. And then option to take that right foot over your thigh. You can grab a hold of the ankle and pull back a little bit so your knee's on top of knee. Otherwise, remember, you're staying right here, sit tall, and then we take that fold on that exhale. Walking those hands forward or just hugging the thigh into your chest. And you'll probably feel a pretty good hamstring stretch as well here. And then go ahead and come back up. You're going to lean back. Again, we're going to that figure four, so ankle over that knee. Lean back on those hands. Bend your knee. And again, for a little more, just kind of scooch in a bit, bringing the chest towards your shin bone. You can do a little rocking side to side. Keep pressing that right thigh away from the chest. Use the breath to create the space, as if you're stretching from the inside out. Make sure your right foot is flexed, you guys, so that'll protect the knee, curling the toes towards your face or towards your knee. And then we're going to lean back a little bit more. You're going to just let the legs fall over to the left. The body's a little tongue-tied, or mouth is a little tongue-tied. And then we're going to move right into that twist. So over towards that right leg. You just hug that leg in and rotate and turn. Elongating the spine, belly pulling in on that exhale. And go ahead and gently release that, coming back around, legs rising up, extending the legs straight, unravel, little tap, little shake out of the legs. Okay, so swinging the legs gently behind you. This time we come into all fours. So if you need padding for your knees, go ahead and grab a hold or just pad up your mat. So here we're gonna do, think of cat-cow, but without moving your spine. So it's gonna be in the pelvis of curling and uncurling your tailbone. Pushing into your hands, keeping your spine pretty neutral to begin. And just start to loosen up the muscles of the pelvis, deep muscles. Curling tailbone under, scooping that belly in, and uncurling tailbone up towards the ceiling. And just do that a few more rounds. And then eventually start to add in your spine. So uncurling as you bring the chest and heart gently forward. Exhale, tailbone starts to tuck under, round your spine, push into the floor. And then eventually back to neutral spine. So you're going to remain in all fours. You're going to extend your right leg off to the right side of your body. So it's going to be toes facing forward, heel to knee alignment. You're going to continue with some cat-cow here. So curling and uncurling that tailbone. Again, targeting the muscles in the pelvis, deep in the glutes. inner thighs. And then eventually back to your neutral spine. We're taking that left hand, reach off and rotate your wrist. Take a breath in, threading the needle on that breath out. We reach underneath us. That left hand reaching towards that right foot as you drop down to your shoulder. And for here, you probably just want to keep that right hand to the floor to help you balance. And then go ahead and slowly bring yourself back up. You'll draw your right leg in, extending your left leg out, same procedure, second side. Left foot is facing forward, arches in line with the knee, and then do a few rounds of cat-cow here. Make sure you move the pelvis with you versus just the spine. And then eventually back to neutral, right hand reaching off as we rotate that wrist out. And then you're threading the needle, second side, reaching that right hand towards that left foot. And we'll come back up through all fours. And as you find all fours, moving into a more wrist stretching. So let's go ahead and turn the heel of the hand in. Fingertips will turn out. If you can bring the heels to touch, that's great. Otherwise, just open up the arms more. And we just circle around on the wrist. And then circling the other direction. And then you'll go ahead and turn the fingertips forward, and then you'll just flip one palm up. So thumb is turning in, fingertips towards your knee. And for a little bit more, you just kind of lean back on those heels. For a little less, lean forward. And then we release, switching sides. Other palm flips up, thumb is turning in. And then go ahead and release that. I'm just going to sit on your heels for a moment. We won't be here very long. You can uncurl your feet and just sit down on those heels for hero's pose. Hand reaching forward, tuck your thumb underneath your fingertips. We rotate that wrist around. Keeping your fingertips facing down. And then circling the other direction. Okay, the next couple sequences can be done through all fours or through downward facing dog. So I'll let you decide depending on how your wrists and shoulders feel. So just shake out your hands. And then we'll go ahead and come into either down dog or all fours. We'll take the right leg up to the ceiling. If you're in all fours, right leg's extending back. Bending your right knee, opening up the pelvis. Then you're just going to circle that right knee around. So just imagine the knee as a paintbrush. You're just drawing a really big circle. And then going the other direction. And then extending your leg back up to the ceiling or extending back, inhale. Step your foot between the hands on the exhale. You're in lunge as you drop onto that back knee. Holding here, just let yourself feel the sensation in that left hip. And then option to walk the hands up on top of your knee or up to the ceiling for crescent lunge. Good, you guys. So there's an element of balance here. Think of bookends on your hips. Reach up, and then some of you reach back. So you want to feel the opening of the chest in any variation. The hands are on the knees. Maybe just use that connection to press into your thigh to open up the chest a bit. And continue to scissor the legs together. A couple big breaths here. And then slowly releasing the hands to the floor into our half split. We straighten out the right leg, draw the hip back, and toes curling towards the face. So you guys, if this is too much on your knee in any way, you can also lift that back knee up and then just straighten out that front leg. So it looks something more like this. One more breath. And breath out. And go ahead and start to walk those hands forward again. Pick up your back knee. We're going to step the back foot forward about halfway. You're in a pyramid pose. Your foot drops. Toes can either face forward, all 10 toes, or that back foot can turn out slightly. Whatever you're doing, they'll start to square off your hips again. Really squeeze your right kneecap up to your hip. And we'll just start out in a stretch for the entire back body. You'll feel this pretty intensely in that right leg. And then soften your knee in that right leg. Bring the hands to your hips. And with a nice flat back, start with the gaze, gently rise up. Okay. We're going to go back into that pose, but hold here. Again, left thigh bone rotating forward, right hip pulling back. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. Inhale. And then interlace the fingertips gently near the base of your skull. So we're going to provide a little traction for the head here. I want you to take your thumb and maybe just wrap it around your neck or right below that ear. So think of lifting your head up off your neck. And then keep lifting up. Think the line of energy up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale, maybe lean back a little bit, looking up. Continue to lift your head up. You take a breath. And then on your exhale, again, start with that gaze. Start to look forward, lean forward. Let your gaze lead. Let your breath lead. This is the exhale. We continue to scoop that head forward, forward, forward. And then eventually we come down. At this point, you can again continue to provide traction for your head, just letting your elbows drop heavy. You can release the hands back to the floor. You can bring them to your hips. You can interlace fingertips at your back, taking the arms overhead. Choose your medicine. And then relax. Relax through the breath. Even though it takes effort to hold this pose, see where you can find ease. We'll take a couple more soothing breaths in and out. Eventually, we'll all bring the hands down to the floor, soften that front knee again, gently step yourself back, down dog or child's pose for rest. All right, same sequence, second side. Remember, this can be done through all fours or down dog. Lifting up and back. Left leg lifts high this time. Bending your left knee, opening up your hip. You're either in scorpion dog or through all fours. Then we start to make a big circle with the knee. Good, you guys, rotating around and around. Yeah, opposite way. Stabilizing your pelvis on the other side. And then eventually straightening out your left leg. Inhale. Exhale to step your foot between the hands all the way through. Nice, you guys. Extend through your lunge. We drop onto that back knee. And hold here. Bring the hands on top of your thigh or up to the ceiling. Big breath. Great. Exhale, we bring the hands down to the floor, half split as you straighten out that left leg. Okay, heel is digging into the floor. Remember, if you need to pick up that back knee, go ahead and do so. Your front foot will probably remain on the floor if that's the case. Otherwise, you're here in half split. Stay high on your right thigh. Left thigh is drawing towards the back of your mat. But your chest is going forward towards the top of your mat. And then finding your way back into lunge. We pick up the back knee, step your back foot forward about halfway. So we're in pyramid pose. Now make sure your footing is on railroad tracks versus a tightrope. So instead of heel to heel, which looks something like this, you want it a little bit wider for support and balance. All 10 toes can either turn forward or that back foot turns out slightly, toes facing out. And then just take a moment to feel the posture, feel the stretch. Sometimes a little shift forward and back or side to side can help you find that center. And then just take a soft bend in that front knee. Bring the hands to your hips. Take your gaze gently forward and rise all the way up. Okay, we stay right here. And squaring off the pelvis again, any adjustment you need to in your footing. We take those arms up on the inhale. And then interlacing fingertips gently behind your head. So as if you're scooping your head up. Thumb can wrap around as you the head, looking wide. Take an inhale. And then keep that as you continue to fold on the exhale, leaning forward. Create that traction for the neck. And then eventually, nice flat spine as we find our way towards the floor. At this point, you can do any adjustment in the grip. This is a lovely way to provide stretch for the back of the body. Again, your hands can release, they can wrap behind you, you can do reverse prayer. And we'll eventually release. This time, soften in the knees, step your legs together. Wiggle out, bending your knees one at a time, maybe sinking down into a squat and curl, and then lifting back up. You can also open up the knees here if that helps, into a squat and lift up. And then we'll release, soften the knees a whole lot, and then just roll your way up one vertebrae at a time. As the chin comes up last. And then go ahead and turn to the long side of your mat and step out. Step out. Feet are a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Heels will turn in, toes will turn out. You're going to interlace those fingertips together. Turn those palms out and then bend into your knees. You're going to tuck the chin a little bit. Reach forward. Hips are back a whole lot. And then we press into the feet, rise up. Arms can go up with you, reaching up to the feet. Let your head dip back, open the throat. And then tuck your chin around as you bend into your knees. And then continue a few more rounds here. So if it's too much with the arms going overhead, you can even just bring the hands back to the belly. At this point, palms will face up. So again, focus is legs. We're toning the legs. We're also opening up that back glute. Nice stretch there. Let's do one more round. Hips back a whole lot. And then in your little squat, stay there. Release the hands to the floor. Again, hips are back a whole lot, you guys, so make sure you scooch back. And then bring the hands or the elbows on top of your knees or thigh. I really want you to press into your thighs a whole lot here, and then squeeze the thighs to your elbow. And then slowly relax. Hands come on top of your thighs. Lift up a bit in the chest, and we drop that right shoulder down into a twist. Pressing your right thigh away from your chest. And then come back, switch sides, drop your shoulder, press your thigh away. And then to the center, rise up a little bit more in the chest. Hands come to the heart center, and we sink those hips down again. You can hold here. You can find a mudra, goddess pose. Heels can lift one at a time or both. You got it, you guys. Keep sending those knees out. Yes. Beautiful. 3, 2. Lower those heels on 1. Rise up. Inhale. Exhale. Forward fold. Turning your footing, toes facing forward. And then just take a lovely stretch here. Press into the outer edges of your feet. And then bring the hands underneath those shoulders. We're going to come down to the floor. So I'm going to give you a couple options. You can go back into that squat where you turn the heels and toes out and drop your hips down into a squat. Otherwise, just scoot your feet in and drop one knee down at a time. We're heading into frog's pose next. Okay, so we'll just take a breath or two and just wait for everybody to find their way. You're coming down, your knees will be on the floor. Again, we are on the long edge of the mat. That'll help give you some padding for the knees. Drop on down to your forearms. Your knees start to scooch out as far as you can go, and then hold, and then turn the toes out. Ankles are on the floor. You can stay right there. If you have a little bit more room to open up those legs, knees can scooch out a bit more. And the breath is in and through. Now, the important thing is to not resist the sensation. Remembering that the discernment is always, if there's pain, then we back out of a pose. If you're just a little uncomfortable, be in the uncomfortable. It's how we grow. Remembering that those things that challenge us can change us, and we get to decide how we come through in the end. We breathe space. We let go of anything that is no longer of service. Sometimes what was a higher thought is now a lesser thought. A couple more breaths. You got this. All right, my friends, we're going to start to shimmy our way back in with those knees. As you draw those knees together, you'll do some hip circles. And just start to imagine that paintbrush on your bum and just make a big circle around. And then going the other direction. And then eventually coming back into your seat. Okay, we'll take a pause here. I always like to come back to a meditative seat to ground, to notice how you feel. Hopefully we got into some good spots in the body, in the hips, the legs. Allowing the eyes to close. Okay, and then just check in. Check in with your physical body, your mental body. And if you would like to remain in this seat during our meditation or Shavasana time, please do so. Otherwise, make your way down to the floor for final pose. And today we'll stay together and then we'll feel our practice together. So getting yourself really comfortable for those of you that want to come down to your mat. Otherwise, if you can remain in your seat, find your honorable seat. Sit bones grounded, spine rising up, up, up. And the windows of the eye begin to close, and the body settles in. And find solace during this time, being with ourselves fully, practicing alone, but not alone. We're all in this together. And every time we show up, we also rise up. Let yourself breathe in the knowledge, the wisdom that you are whole, that you are complete as is. And the breath remains fluid. The heart light and full of love. And then let gratitude wash over you. Let every single cell in your body receive At this point, I'm going to offer, if you'd like to remain lying down in your Shavasana, please do so. Otherwise, you'll go ahead and gently awaken and start to make your way into a seat where we'll seal our practice together. And bring our hands in universal prayer. Bowing to each other, to the practice. And we'll chant 3 ohms together to raise vibration. Remember, the sound is 3 parts. Ah, And know that we're all in this together. Let's exhale the breath, every drop down and out. Oming with this inhale, fill in and up. Bring the thumbs towards the third eye center. Thank you so much for being. I love each and every one of you so, so much. Thank you for letting me in your home. I lead you with love and light. I lead you with power and with peace. Namaste.